very briefly, my name's Heidi and I run the school farm at Woodchurch, where I'm basically a biology teacher. And went off from maternity leave, wanted to come back full-time. It wasn't full-time hours, so I was offered vocational. And those of us in secondary, we know what that means. And I was a bit afraid. And they said to me, would you like to do some car balloting? The answer to that was no. I'm not like it at all, really. My car is like a skip on wheels. And actually what happened was I got a leaflet through for a polytunnel, and then another one came through from an organisation called Rural LA21, who were an environmental charity at the time. And they wanted schools to drop into gardening, dig. It was so cheesy, I couldn't resist it. And I went to this meeting, and we all sat around, and I was so impressed because they had actually made a pot of tea with a coating on it and homemade scones. So I was instantly in love and thought, right, we have to make a go of this project. Ended up, they bought us our first polytunnel, and that's basically where it started. I was the lead practitioner for the North West for the SSAT for what they call the rural dimension. It's basically environmental science. I was line lead for the World Diploma in Environmental Science until we decided it wasn't very good in the club. It was a bit of a shame. And I am now on the school's farms network advisors, national advisors, and so we're trying very hard to bring a little bit of what we do to everybody else. Okay, this is a question I ask to start off with. Obviously, this is my school experience, not 400 years ago. And I asked the question, think of a moment when you were at school or when you were an official young learner that had an impact on you, that really made you think, or that you think back to your school days and you go, oh, I remember when we... Okay. I've done this at the SSAT conference for engineers, and they all just sat there and went, oh yes, it was in triple physics, which wasn't really the reaction I was aiming for. But for me, it was when we went to Colomendy. Is there any schools from Liverpool, teachers from Liverpool here? Do you remember Colomendy? Oh, Colomendy. All right, outdoor education. And it made a big impact on me, and it started off my love for animals and my love for biology. So now I've been very involved with a programme called Learning Outside the Classroom, and I'm very trying to put all those up. So that you can look at them while we got this polytunnel at the church. It wasn't what I expected. I have no idea about feet and injuries. I'm definitely centimetres, even though I'm incredibly old. And so when they said, order this polytunnel, I was thinking it would be a sort of largish garden shed sort of thing. And they were putting it up in the holidays, and the builders rang me to say, could I come down with science with you? So I drove down the motorway, and already know where Woodchurch is, on that side of the motorway, on the other side, it's on the good side. We drove down, and I nearly catched the car because this huge thing, 60-foot long polytunnel had arrived, and I thought, oh, I'll definitely get the sack. I hadn't ran it by the head. She's a very busy woman, and I didn't feel she needed to know. Which is kind of how I did it, and I thought, you see, if you said, can I have it, invites the answer no, doesn't it? And I don't like to hear that, so I didn't bother mentioning it. And I came back, and there's this cathedral of polythene out the back of school. And so there was a mission to fill it. From that, I have seen a change in people, and when they do say, if you work with plants and animals, that it brings, it promotes good mental health. Clearly, I am the exception to the rule there, hands up, but apparently it does. And I've seen it in my pupils, and I've seen the most difficult pupils, most vulnerable pupils, most disaffected pupils engage in a way and give something of themselves in a way that no other facility or no other programme in school affords them the opportunity to do. And that to me is that's the most powerful thing I've had out of all of this, is the impact it has and the ability to change people's lives. This is my black Daniel. Changing that boy is absolutely unbelievable, to the point at which the head teacher of the church said he could be running the farm next year, he could help him run the farm next year. It's amazing. Very quick example. He's 16. The year 7 girls driving him out to help him on the farm in the morning, do all the animals. He lets them let the chickens out, and they're always losing the peg that shuts the chicken door. And if you don't shut it properly, there's a fox coming. So I was like, oh, well, I just stick an old rusty nail in there, or with a twig or something, it'll be fine. No, Daniel finds the company that we got the hen houses from. He emails them and says, these girls are driving mad. an initiative that actually goes and does it, that's supposed to be educationally pretty low. I mean, that's an amazing thing. It's not the only amazing thing he does. He's hatching ducks eggs at the moment, which I don't want ducks, but he wants ducks, so we're getting ducks. And he keeps emailing me Amazon web pages of ponds. It's very important. He will win, I'm certain. Okay. I hope you were reading that, because that's the evidence of what I'm telling you. There's loads and loads of boring, very fascinating research to support the impact that this has on people. But I've seen it for myself, and those of us that started embarking on this route, I've seen it many times. Okay. This is a statement from our Ofsted report in July. There is a huge risk, isn't there, particularly with this government, that vocational courses and vocational training is downgraded and devalued, and the impact of it is undervalued. And actually, it's completely wrong. People are afraid to have anything to do with this because of Ofsted don't like it. Well, Ofsted wrote a line about our English results, and then a second line about maths and science, and then they wrote a whole paragraph about the impact of the farm on school, and they were blown away by it. They observed 2 lessons on the farm, and graded both were outstanding. So don't feel like if we did this and we taught on it, it wouldn't be graded well by Ofsted, because it's certainly not our experience. It's not the experience of schools farms across the country. Okay, very quickly. Alright, this is some of the ways in which we use the farm. That's it, very cold. Fishing is land. Big impact. I take the kids and the sheep to the Cheshire Show. Well, we breed sheep, rare breed sheep, I've got to tell you that. I've got rare breed sheep and goats. We took the sheep to the Cheshire Show last year, and 2 of the girls, the shyest girls, you could actually, year 10, they arrived at BTEC Animal Care like that. And I was like, would you like to do the trips? Right? By 6 months later, there they go, Miss, we've got a trip to do now. We'll just go and do it. And off they went and did it. Okay, so took initiative, confidence, competence, pride in what they're doing. Took them to the Cheshire Show. They showed the sheep in the showroom. The girls in class couldn't speak to you in year 10 because they're so shy. Got up in front of hundreds of people in Cheshire and walked the sheep in the ring. And one of them actually won and went through to the finals of the Young Shepherd of the Year. Oh, yeah. And we were all standing around like, we were all, ready to try and set, we're not going to try. She did such an amazing job, guys, incredible. But these girls have the confidence to see there's a problem with one of the sheep. One of the sheep developed mastitis, she's a lammy, and they spotted it, they tipped the sheep, they investigated, examined it, diagnosed it, and all they did is phone me, and I phoned back straight away because those girls knew what we were talking about. It's amazing. You take children outside the classroom, their levels of engagement are unbelievable, and we should be doing it. Alright. One thing you can do if you don't have a farm is you can make your own recycled plastic bottle greenhouse, and they've got the recipe for this, the instructions, and the ingredients, the whole lot. So make yourself a recycled bottle greenhouse. What a great eco project. Alright. Any questions?
Well,